So I want to share something with you that I believe you'll find very interesting. A client of mine asked me the question, how can she learn her lesson healing if I am doing all the work for her and she isn't doing anything? Then how will she get her soul lessons and how will she move to the next level? Now, this is an interesting thing because it's all about perception. Perception of us being separate and perception of us being all one. You have to understand that this reality that we exist in is an illusion. It is not real. Think of it as a very convincing video game, like in the Matrix, okay? So first of all, sometimes people frequently say, I'm trapped in the physical world. I'm trapped in the physical body. The physical body versus the metaphysical world. The physical body versus the astral. The physical versus mental planes. You have to understand that there's actually no such thing as the physical world. The physical world is an illusion. There's no difference between the physical world, a dream world, and an astral world, if you want to call those things astral dreams, because everything is just consciousness through perception. But let's use these words so there's a basis of understanding. There is no such thing as a physical world. Quantum physicists know this, and you can look at any research book and look up how much space is in between a nucleus and an atom. Right? Look at how much space in between our bodies. I believe you'll pretty much understand that we're basically consist of all space. Like there's literally nothing solid about us if you look at us under an electron microscope. Now, this place exists as a massive simulation, so your body actually isn't physical. You just believe it's physical in your mind makes it physical. We're all operating under agreement that we're all going to make believe that this place is a physical world. I want you to think about this for a second. How does something physical just immediately heal itself or reform itself or reshape itself instantly? It can't. It's because none of this is physical. There is no such thing as the physical. There is only the mind. There is only the dream world. Once you really understand this, things are going to start to make sense for you. Another thing I want to bring up that kind of bothered me is this whole idea that you have to move from level to level, learning lessons and doing the soul plan and things like that. I'm not saying this isn't a legitimate experience to have, if that's an experience you choose to have. If you choose to have the experience that you are a soul, constantly getting lessons, constantly reincarnating, that is a choice. That is an experience you choose to have. There's also another way to look at things. The problem the client has was that she believed that I was separate from her, so that if I'm healing her, then how is she going to get the lessons? Well, first of all, you have to understand that if you decide to maintain the perception that we are all separate, that we are all individual, then that is the reality that you will create. That is the reality that you will get. But I invite you to think of a new perspective. What about the perspective that we are all actually one consciousness, and that one consciousness is having unique experiences through each one of us as a lens, as a way to interact with the world, as a way to interact with itself. So if you are just one consciousness moving through different lenses, then the lesson of one is learned by the lesson of many. So there is no need for you to have an individual lesson as long as one of us have already had the lesson. Think of this for a moment. See my hand here. If I were to type a 4-digit code using this hand, would I also have to type the same code with this hand so I know it? Now think about this for a second. If I were to type a code, a 4-digit code with this hand, and I were suddenly to say, oh, this hand now knows the code. This hand knows the code, but this hand does not know the code. So now I have to type the same digits with this hand so that this hand knows the code. You would say to yourself, that's insane, because your hands are actually part of you. So if you can type it with one hand and you can type it with the other, because you are not your hands, you're your mind, you're something entirely different. So now I want you to replace the idea of hands with people. So if this person knows the code, or if this person learns a lesson, and we're all one in consciousness, and then this person learns a lesson, is it necessary for this person to learn the lesson if this one already has the lesson? It's only necessary if these two people decide to have the illusion that they're separate. But what if these two people realize they're not separate, they're just two different perspectives of the same consciousness? If that is the case, then if this person knows a lesson, then there's no reason for this person to know it, because they're both part of the same consciousness. So in fact, if this person learns a lesson and does work, then essentially this person is doing it because they're the same. For instance, if I'm doing work with this hand, then theoretically I'm doing the work. And if this hand is part of me, then I am doing the work, because we are all one. Do you follow what I'm saying? So for this to really work, if you really want to take things to the next level in terms of healing yourself and healing others, I invite you to start experiencing and seeing us all as one consciousness having unique experience. Now, I'm not telling you to go be a Borg from Star Trek and we're like, we are all one, the Borg collective, and we must all be all thinking and all knowing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not telling you to lose your individuality. This is where we get in trouble. No, keep your individuality. The more you can actually express your unique individuality, the more you're actually connecting with the one, the consciousness of the whole, because you're contributing to those unique perspectives that you have, those unique attributes that make you, those unique experiences that make you, you are actually contributing to the whole of the consciousness, the whole of the perspective, right? So in turn, when someone is doing healing for you, another person isn't healing you, an aspect of yourself is healing you. So for instance, if I cut this hand, right, and then I use this hand to minister something to this hand, is this hand like a completely separate entity healing this hand, or is it me healing myself? Do you understand the concept here for a second? So a lot of the problems that people have when it comes to healing themselves or others is they're still thinking of everyone as being divided. Yes, we're all experiencing the illusion of being separate, but that's only because it's exciting, it's new, it's giving us a unique perspective. Each and every one of you is a God consciousness expressing itself as a unique expression, a unique individual. So we're literally interacting with ourselves through different angles, different perspectives, different interpretations, right? But anytime you see a healer who's healing you, it's actually you healing yourself from a different perspective. I invite you to really understand that and contemplate what I'm saying to you. I know this is very, very deep, but I believe that we're at a time in our lives where there's too much fluff, there's too much nonsense, there's too much treating you like you're a bunch of children that can't handle deep concepts. I know YouTube and Facebook and all these other places would like to believe that the best you can handle is a ridiculous dare or someone doing something completely brain-numbing and idiotic. Yes, you're thinking, Talmadge, how do you really feel about social media? But seriously, you guys, you guys are ready for these deep concepts. You can understand this. You are ready for it. You're here watching this because you're ready. You're ready for a new perspective. You're ready for a new understanding. Everything I'm saying with you resonates with you, and that's why you're listening to me. That's why you're watching these videos. I'm reminding you of things you've always known. You've always known this. It's just that now you're choosing to remember them again after you've enjoyed the experience of believing that your body is physical, that believing there's a physical world, that this is the earth plane, that this is all this nonsense, that we're all like separate from each other. No, no, no. We are one consciousness experiencing itself through different lenses. Some of these lenses are, so I am you and you are me. I am you and I am you, and you're experiencing yourself through the lens of an incredibly good-looking yet humble man called Thomas Harper. You are you, no matter what country are you in, if you're in the United States, or whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, black, white, Spanish, Indian, Asian, it doesn't make a really difference. Any lens that you are, you're just merely us experiencing yourself through that lens. Now, some people get scared by this because they're like, well, I'm losing my unique individuality. No, you are not losing your individuality. You're encouraged you're encouraged to embrace your individuality. Embrace the lens that you're looking through. And then through this understanding, it's going to adjust your self-concept. When you start thinking of yourself as being infinite consciousness, having a human experience. Once you start seeing things differently, your self-concept is going to change. And when your self-concept changes, then everything around you will start to adapt to that, because this virtual reality we're in, it responds to the self-concept of who you believe you are. Think of your self-concept as an avatar. And these avatars all come with pre-existing beliefs, pre-existing parameters and settings. I'd like to thank my good friend Bartosz, who I work with frequently, for reminding me of this to share with you. Now, the beauty behind this is that once you really start focusing on changing your self-concept, then literally you're changing the avatar or your unique experience that you're having in this world, and then everything changes. With a lot of people, they make the mistake of using a new technique, using a new tool, using a new understanding without changing their self-concept. Self-concepts and tools, they have to be in alignment. Say, for instance, here, as you can tell, I'm a big geek. I used to be, okay, let me confess, I'm still a big geek. There used to be a time where I play a lot of video games. And so I want you to imagine that you're playing a video game, okay? And in the video game, let's just say there's this huge sword, and the sword is like 300 pounds, and it can like slice through steel and dragon's breath and all this stuff like that. However, let's say that you choose an avatar who just happens to be a 10-year-old boy or a 10-year-old girl, and that avatar comes with a certain set of parameters as defined by the reality. Those parameters are this: they're only like, I don't know, they're like 70 pounds. There's hardly any muscle mass. There's hardly any strength. So if you were to give that sword to that 10-year-old avatar, there's no way they're going to be able to lift it up. It's because that technology is not in alignment with the self-concept of the avatar. So many times in lives, when we try to do things, the things that we do are not in alignment with our own self-concept, with our own avatars of who we are. So, but when you are in alignment, when you're completely in alignment, and you're really completely centered with your self-avatar, then you're going to understand that the avatar that you choose, it has to conform to the belief systems that it's based upon. So if you have an avatar as being a infinite consciousness, having the experience of a human being, just by contemplating that idea, you're going to start upgrading your avatar. So then different experiences will open up to you that would be limited to you if you just defined yourself as just Bob down the street or just Joe down the corner. Not to insult you if your name is Joseph or Bob, I'm just giving you an example. So let me know your thoughts about this, and we can go more into self-concepts. But for the meantime, consider what I'm saying. And I hope you find this empowering, useful, and intelligent. Let me know your thoughts. You guys are ready for this information. You can handle it. It's time for you to remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember your power. Stay healthy, stay empowered, and I'll see you guys soon.